we need to be able to understand our economies and our countries. Africa is a very diverse country with 54 different countries, and the reasons across the countries are different. For example, if you look at Zimbabwe, economic growth has been the barrier. There has not been economic growth taking place in Zimbabwe. But if you then look at perhaps the East African region, there has been economic growth, but the economic growth in the East African region is not relative to the growth in terms of the number of young people that are entering into employment. So the barriers are quite diverse depending on the part of the country or region you're coming from within Africa.
We need to get politicians to be aligned with policies that really create jobs rather than it being more of a talk that helps for politics. I think that is the biggest thing, and not understanding the youth. I think as young entrepreneurs we're misunderstood. Sometimes our ambitions are also not understood. So we need to find a way that we can be understood and we can have policies in place.
Yes, the solution, the biggest problem that affects, I guess, is policy, because that cuts across everything. Governance, trade, security, innovation, even basic infrastructural problems can be really alleviated with policy interventions.
I think when we look at young people as capable players of the job market, we are going in the right direction. And when we lack credibility, can we borrow credibility? Because when we partner, you help us to borrow credibility, and then the intergenerational dialogue should happen between people who are already in the market for long and people who are coming in the market, so that you understand the new needs, we understand the existing experiences in the market, and then we match together. We need them, the experienced people, as much as they need us. How do we play together more than them versus us?
I think it's mostly the way they're educated. Most people are educated for the job market, which I think is a hindrance to having people employed. As a businessman, I think most employment in Africa or anywhere is actually in the informal sector. So an informal sector is just people starting all kinds of small businesses, hiring 3-4 people, growing. So because people are not educated to take control of their own destiny and their own living, or the way they make a living, I think that's the biggest barrier.
I think back at home in Eswatini, a couple of issues. Number one, I think, is the lack of understanding of industry needs versus the curriculum that is offered at school. So I think that's where it has to start. And then number two, I think it's the lack of capacitation in terms of financial literacy. That is very critical, because a lot of young people do not know how money works. We need to understand what money is and how money works, so that if given the opportunities, we would be able to make profitable business.
Opportunities and access to opportunities for growth in terms of business. Because if we can grow our businesses in terms of scale and in terms of size and in terms of market share, that can actually unleash a sort of jobs for other young people to actually partake in.
For me, it's education. It's one of the biggest barriers, because we have so many graduates, like even back in Kenya, we have so many graduates, but still the employers are complaining they don't have people to employ. So I think there's a mismatch of skill sets.
Young people are not just one homogeneous group. It's just that we are so diverse that the young people in the rural, and even those in the rural, when you segregate them to men and women, you see that the needs are very unique and different. Those in the informal, those in the formal sector, those in the urban areas, those who are exposed to tech, those who are not, and all of that. So it's just this broad group of young people that you cannot throw one solution of job unemployment to that you think can solve the problems of all the others.